I might be out of commission for a day or two because of some minor dentistry issues, but not to worry. I've been checking out some movies lately because I haven't actually spent much time watching movies in the past few days, which is why I've done a bunch of reviews lately, just where I sat down in front of the camera and talked about some movies I rented. And the latest one I rented is My Name is Bruce on Blu-ray, starring the notorious Bruce Campbell as himself. It's basically a story where Bruce plays himself as kind of a caricature of himself, like a boozed up, desperate actor who's running through like a divorce and painful alimony proceedings, things like that. And the ignorant residents of some bumfuck town called Gold Lick are attacked by the Chinese god of war and bean curd named Quan. Oh, what, fuck, they said his name enough times in the movie. What's his fucking name? Guandi. They said his name constantly. And the most annoying thing in the whole movie is like every scene, the beginning of the movie, the end of the movie, the credits, every act is separated by these really two annoying minstrels who sing this country ballad of Guandi. Guandi, Guandi. Anyway, the locals hire Bruce Campbell, or they don't so much hire him as they club him over the head and throw him in the trunk of a car and force him to kill the Chinese god of war. And so far, if you're taking it in terms of like the premise and the fact that it has Bruce effing Campbell in it, if you're a big fan, you probably already saw this in a theater somewhere. Like, if you're the biggest fan, you found a theater somewhere and drove like 600 miles to go see it in the theater because you're that big a fan, and it's Bruce effing Campbell. I'll tell you this right now, this is not a good movie. It's in fact, it's probably one of the worst Bruce Campbell movies I've ever seen, and I saw McHale's Navy. Truly, this is... You know what? This movie, it's actually really sad to watch this movie. Honestly, like, it's meant to be this comedy. It's meant to be just kind of, haha, look at Bruce get slapped around a bunch. Look at Bruce drink himself into a coma. Haha, isn't Bruce pathetic? And it is really kind of humbling, like, watching this movie. It's sad seeing what Bruce is doing to himself with movies like this. This entire movie is comprised entirely of one joke. Okay, two jokes, but mainly one joke only. That Bruce Campbell is a terrible actor who is terrible with women. He's egomaniacal, and he makes tons and tons of shitty movies. The reason I say it's sad is because every single joke is basically Bruce making an ass out of himself. You know, calling himself a drunk, calling himself a coward, that kind of thing. And he's kind of saying, like, look, you guys will pretty much buy anything if I'm in it, right? It doesn't even matter. Like, I don't even have to try. He literally just runs around holding a gun, screaming like a girl, and fighting a rubber monster, like the fakest monster you've ever seen. This thing, it's... Even in terms of, like Cinemax porno special effects, this is bad. And he knows it's bad, and he spends, like, the first half of the movie lampooning, like, the shitty sci-fi original movies he's made, like Cave Alien and stuff like that. There's something just not fun about the fact of Bruce making mock of himself like this. You know, he's basically just sitting in front of the camera saying, like, oh, you want to see the monkey dance? Here's the monkey dancing! You know, like, Bruce Campbell has kind of ceased to become this awesome star, and has kind of just become this little celebrity who shambles around B-movies, pointing at himself and winking at the camera like, hey, guys, I was in Evil Dead, that was a great movie! This is shit, but I'm Bruce Campbell, and we're all having a fun time. Hey, let's throw some fake blood on the monkey, huh? Let's do it! It's sad. And the real value of this movie, like the only funny parts of this film, is really watching Ted Raimi dress in a bunch of different costumes. Like he must take on like 6 different outrageously stupid costumes. Like he takes on the role of the ancient Chinese sage who has all the bean curd. He takes on the role of the Italian guy named Luigi who paints the sign out in front of the town, and he mumbles to himself a lot. He plays Bruce's agent. He plays Bruce's the director of Bruce's new film. He plays like half of the characters in this film. I guess what I'm saying is there's something that's been lost in the years between like Evil Dead, all those movies he made in the past, those movies we know and love, and I think it kind of changed around Army of Darkness when he stopped being this endearing character, this endearing actor who was making these really great movies out of shit, and then he became this. He became the Army of Darkness guy, which, he became the guy with the catchphrases. He became the guy who was clearly always the give me some sugar baby type stuff. And I don't know what it is, but all of a sudden he's kind of become this character of himself, and I think he's lost a lot of the magic. I think maybe success, if you can call it that, is maybe like the worst thing that ever could have happened to Bruce, because when he was an underground figure, he was awesome, and when you see movies like this, I don't know, there's just something missing, and it doesn't help that the material he's working with just isn't funny. It's one joke, and it's really hard to get over the fact that the entire movie is a bare bones, barely masked ripoff of The Three Amigos. In the sense that Bruce Campbell gets roped into trying to save the town from some evil guy, and at first he thinks it's all a part of a movie or some reality TV show, so he starts playing along with the part, and he realizes to his shock and horror that everything is actually real. And so he has to kind of nut up and use his celebrity abilities, the knowledge he's gained from all the sci-fi movies he's been in to try to fight this monster. It's very Three Amigos, and I just don't think you'll like it. Even if you are a Bruce Campbell fan, there's not a lot to like here. Maybe if you're a diehard, if you're a diehard, there's no other. If you're not a diehard, there's no other reason to watch it. There's really not, because the entire thing is in references to other movies. Like, you'll walk around, there's this kid who collects all the stuff. You'll see Briscoe County memorabilia. If you don't know what Briscoe County is, the entire joke is going to go sailing right over your head, as are about 98% of the other jokes. You're not going to know who Bruce is. And so he really is saying, like, you only bought this movie because this is a fan mail to you, fans. You'll buy anything that has Bruce Campbell on it. I will not. I will rent anything with Bruce Campbell in it. And I think that's the real shame of this movie, is it looks like it was shot on about $20. I would be genuinely stunned if there was a completed script at the time of shooting. I really think they just had like a bare bones outline. And I think they ad-libbed or wrote up whatever the script was going to be about 10 minutes in advance, because it's also simplistic. It's, Bruce has to go to town. Bruce gets recruited to fight the monster. Bruce runs around in the woods for a little while getting gore dumped on him. Things like that. I did not enjoy it, and I thought I would. I was really disappointed, and I'm not sure what the remedy is. Do I suggest that Bruce Campbell go back and start making Evil Dead movies? I don't know. And I think even Bruce here seems kind of amused about the magic that he's lost, because he's even in his car talking about, like, everyone is basically reciting a litany of movies that he sucked in, all the, like, McHale's Navy, they mentioned that one. I can't even remember all of them. But, The Man with the Screaming Brain, all the sci-fi originals, the one where he plays, like, this Marine trying to fight clone armies, things like that. They mention all these movies, and for some reason there's now this very self-aware aspect of it that kind of robs Bruce of that charm. But anyway, I really wouldn't even recommend a rental. It's that bad. Maybe you might try the commentary track. I think there actually would be a lot more fun to be had just listening to Bruce shoot the shit on a commentary track, instead of just kind of dancing around, like, making fun of himself all the time. Anyway, I've been going on for a long time about this, so have a good night, everyone. I hope you enjoy many of Bruce Campbell's other movies. May I suggest Evil Dead? I don't know. Rent that one instead. Don't rent this.